Alright gang, you guys are hanging from the ceiling. Don't anybody freak, you're not that far off the ground. We're going to pay a little bit of attention here to the headstock. See what we can do as far as getting that loosened up. We get a dead blow. Get the big one. I'm gonna knock these two. Got a little bit of oxidization there. Hopefully that's not going to affect us too bad. Let's get this off of there and clean it a little bit. Oh, not going to affect us at all. Well, that worked. I'm just going to tap this loose just a little bit. Just a hair. I want to see if that has improved this at all. Oh yeah. It was just too tight. That's all that was. No play in it. It was just too tight. Alright, well that was an easy fix. So, set that back down there. Just going to loosely put the nut on, because once I get the forks in, I'm going to have to center everything and square everything up with the handlebars and all that, and that the moving headstock will allow me to do that. In fact, I think I might loosen this just a hair more, because when I tighten that headstock nut down, it might cause some other issues. But yeah, it's moving great now, so it was just too tight. And this is a Belleville washer. It's cupped. So whenever you're dealing with a cupped washer like that, they act as a lock nut or a lock washer. You want to put the bevel side, the high side on the inside facing up, so that when you tighten it down, it'll flatten that washer out and effectively act like a lock washer. Just a little clue. And I don't know if it's in view or not. Yeah, it's in view. You guys can see right here, we've got the front tire all mounted up. And we've got the back tire all mounted up and pretty. So we're moving ahead pretty quick. I got cut short yesterday because the power went out. And I've got my good shock down here, and I still have to rebuild the other shock and put a new seal in it. So I got to do a little bit of research, see how much fork oil goes in, and once I do that, we'll pop those apart over here on the workbench and take a look and see what we've got inside. We should have a dampener and a spring and the upper fork tube. I will release the spring from the top. I'll show you how to do that without killing yourself. It's not the easiest thing to do, but especially without something to compress everything with. But I'll show you guys. I'll show you. So hang on. Alright, we're on to the shock. Quite simply, all I've done is I've taken a pipe clamp and a socket, and I've compressed that spring enough that I can get the little lock ring in there, and you can't see the lock ring, but trust me, it's in there. But anyway, we got it out and it's sitting right there. So let's pop her off of there, make sure that stays in a safe place. We're going to need it later. I'm going to slowly just back this off and get that cap to come out. Alright, there we go. And here comes the oil. So we've got a seal on the end of that cap nut. That's just your basic O-ring. And I'm fine with, boy, that is some dirty fork oil. But you can see, minus the socket, of course. Just an O-ring on there. And that keeps the top head part sealed. So now we can remove the spring. And then we have another similar lock ring that is holding the seal in over here. You guys might be wondering, dude, that's the one you're going to use. No, that's not. I'm using the other one, this one down here. But it's okay. I've got brass soft jaw clamps that I'm going to be putting the other one in when I take it apart so that I don't do any more damage to that one. I also have the Allen head screw on the end to get out, because I have to loosen that in order to get the whole assembly to pop out, because right now that's what's stopping this from pulling. And it may just pull right out without even having to mess with this here, which will make it easier for me to get the old seal out. But here's our spring, which we can't see now because I moved the camera. Here's our spring. We're still draining some oil. Let me put a little angle on that. There we go. Pretty good length spring. Set that up here on that paper towel. Let it lean right there out of harm's way. Well, we got lucky. The shock tube was stuck. I had to pop the camera off so I could get it unstuck. There we go. Now we got her. Okay, I'm pull this whole tube out. And then this one does not get the new seal, but this tube is going in this shock down here. So we'll just lather, rinse, repeat in that respect. And then we'll pop the seal out of this one down here, put the new seal in, and there we go. I'll show you guys everything that's going on here as soon as it stops dripping. Okay, there's our seal, and you can see our ring that's in there. That one's going to be easier to get out. I don't have to worry about getting it out of this one, because this one obviously is not going back together. But here's our shock tube. It's in good shape. Let me get that down. Then inside we have our, I don't know if you can see that, our dampener. Okay, it's got holes in the sides of it. Just acts as just like any other shock, just like a dampener. All right, so this one we've got to be careful with. I'm going to get the other one taken apart. Boy, it smells just like regular ordinary gear oil. Well, that's not what's going back in it. It's going to get good stuff back in it. Transmission fluid. All right, let's get the other one apart. I'll show you how to pop the seal out. Easy enough, easy peasy. Now you can more or less pop them out with a screwdriver if you want to. But let me get the other one apart. We'll get the new seal on there. Get everything put all back together, and then we should be ready to reassemble the front end after we put the new brake shoes on. Hang on. Alright gang, we're getting ready to pull the seal. I wanted to show you a nice close-up. We've got to pull that gold colored ring out of there, and I'm just going to do that again with my handy dandy picks. I should just be able to come in, get under it, roll it up, and out, just like that. Set that aside. Now to get the seal itself out, if you don't have a seal puller, you can use a screwdriver, but please be careful, okay? Get the seal puller and get it up underneath, and just start lifting and a tugging all the way around it until you get her out. Need to use the other side. Can't go that route. Seems like everything I try to do on camera is going to fight me, right? Isn't that the way it always goes? I don't want to damage around here trying to pull that seal out. So I do have another option. Let me grab it. A little bit of a different view, but my soft jaw's in there. There's my other seal puller. I just put that in and screw this rod down until it gets a hold of that seal nice and good. Then it just works like a hammer. Well, it's got a good hold on it, but it is certainly not releasing it. I'm going to do a practice run on the tube that we're not going to use, just so that we're erring on the side of caution. I want to be sure that I don't have a hold of the lip on the shock tube itself. So we'll just keep the camera rolling, stick the other shock tube in there since we don't need it. Looked like that shock moved, or that seal moved. Let's get that one out of there. We'll stick this one in there. Get it tightened down. Get that lock ring out of there. Easy peasy. I don't think there's anything there. I just want to, like I say, err on the side of caution. Since I've got one I can practice on, by golly, I'm going to practice. That should be moving in my opinion, right? Don't you guys think that should be moving? Well, since we don't need to save this one, let's just go ahead and pop this one out this way. Okay, there is no lip, so I don't have to worry about a lip. And that's why I didn't want to use this one, because I did put a little bit of a mar there. So, but it's just in there really tight. So it's okay. Go back, do it the way that we were going to initially do it. Let's get that sucker out of there. You need to come out so we can put the new one in. It's fighting me. That's all right. I need that bucket out of the way so that I don't knock that bucket over and end up with gear oil all over again. Once was enough for me. Let's get it way out of the way. What do you say? This is going to be a fun one to edit. That seal doesn't want to come out, does it? I want it to come out. Who's going to win? The shock, the seal, or Zippo? Huh? What do you think? You think Zippo's going to win? There, it's coming. Bet all you're seeing is my elbow, huh? You see, the seal is finally coming out, so take it out the rest of the way this way. Now that's a seal. That sucker did not want to come out. But I saved the surface, which was the main goal. Alright, I'm going to clean all that up. You guys don't need to watch me do that. Then we'll tap the new seal in. Old seal is now in the trash. Thank goodness for different types of seal pullers, eh? Gotta have a variety. I don't even remember where that one came from. It just showed up. But I like it. It just saved the day here, didn't it? Alright, let me get that cleaned up, get the new seal, and we'll tap that new seal down in there. So hang on. Now, I'm a firm believer in a job worth doing is a job worth doing right. Right? I've been harping on that and preaching on that past few videos. This is a seal setting kit. This is exactly what we need to get that seal in there and get it in there nice and squarely. So, look, we even got a new sticker. Whether you're right on or off road, All Balls has you covered with all the parts you need. Okay, we got to get the right size for the job. We have two new seals here. I'm only using one because, like I said, that one fork assembly that I bought was rebuilt. Has new oil and everything else in it. So, this one is the only one I need, which is going to leave a spare. So the spare, before I get my grubby fingers on it, it's going to go right back in there with the card that has the part number and everything on it, and that'll go to Andy for him to stockpile away in the event that it's ever needed on one of these shocks again. Okay. And one of the most important things about these seals is you see the silver down in there, those springs. You've got to keep those springs in place. It's a nice thing about this seal though. This seal goes down in there just like that. And when I go to put the fork tube in, I'll put a little bit of oil on it. It'll just slide right down there. Something else you might wonder is, why did I take the spring out of one but not the other? I don't need the spring out of the other. I'm not using it. That's the one that's crushed. The way that you fill these shock tubes, the way that you fill the shocks is, you replace your seal, you take the shock tube and dampener and everything, you put it all the way down in there. You can go ahead and put the bolt on and a new crush washer. Make sure you've got a new crush washer for that bolt that's in the bottom of the fork that was severely hammered on. And then you fill the tube slowly and carefully to 89 millimeters. Well, conveniently, 89 millimeters equals 3 1/2 inches. So what I have here, this is just a mix miser. It's a syringe, just a big syringe. I'm going to intentionally overfill it, and then I have the measurement. As soon as I set this in the top of the fork tube itself, the top part, it's going to ride right here, and this distance right there is exactly 3 1/2 inches. So I will draw all the excess up out of there, pull it up out, and I have the exact correct amount of fluid in there. That's as per the manual. That's what the manual says. That's how it says how to do it. Doesn't actually give you a fluid ounce amount like most shocks do. So we're going to put just a little bit of oil around that right there. And I've got my new oil sitting right here. I guess I'll go ahead and get my finger wet again. Finger wet and dirty. No lewd comments. I definitely don't want any rude comments about it being red either. So just keep that to yourself. There's a joke in there somewhere. I've actually got a set of wings. That's a story for not this channel. I was in the military. You had a unofficial ceremony for earning your Red Wings. Anybody that doesn't know what Red Wings are, that's probably a good thing. Okay, so we got that. We've got it sitting right where we need it to sit, just right there in the top. Now we've got to find the right seat size setter, the right size setter. A little bit bigger than that. And these are dual side, big side and small side. I could go this route and go to the inside, but I don't want to do that because I don't know that this shoulder is big enough to You know what I'm trying to say? I'm not sure that that shoulder is wide enough to get onto the metal. In fact, setting it in there, I know it doesn't. So what I'm going to do is match the OD, the large OD, as close as I can, and that's about the best I want to do right there. And I'll pull my holders out of here. One, I need the big one in the bottom. Two, and come on, 3. All right, there we go. Okay. Let's put it in there just like that. And then we start tapping. Now I have the lower shock mount resting on the base of the vise slide. Just nice, steady, even, straight blows down. And I'm just going to go ahead and use a BFH. Easy does it now. Make sure that that's going to go in there. Looks like it will. Looks can be deceiving, so I need to go down one size, and that's all right. Yeah, it's still got a hold of it plenty of the meat. So just keep driving it. Until it seats. And I believe it has seated. You can tell by the sound. Just a dull thud instead of a ting ting as it's going down. So we got her. It is in place. The next step is a little bit more oil in there. Put the shock tube down in. I'll go ahead and put the bolt and the new crush washer in. Once I get that done, I'm going to fill the tube with more oil than what's needed. Then I will siphon that amount of oil out. Replace the spring. Replace the cap with a new O-ring on it. And replace the clip, and then that shock is done. It's ready to be reinstalled. Then we can go ahead and reinstall both front shocks and get both wheels back on the little KLX 110 so we can get the center jack, which had a request to see it actually in use and in action. And there you go. Got 2 straps here, and I just put the straps on loosely and then cranked the lift up onto it to tighten the straps down. So, but there you go. And that was the whole reason for it. And it does want to slip around, so I'm going to have to take and put some rubber stuffs up underneath the bottom of it so that it'll stay put. But that gives me a lot more height as well, so that I can effectively get the front wheel on, back wheel on, and everything, and have the entire bike up in the air, and then just bring this back down and allow this generic wheel chock, which is going to get upgraded, to go on it. So that's what's going to happen. Next time you see this, the front end will be assembled. It will be on the bike. The front and back wheel will be on. I told you in a previous video, little snippet, how the brakes get changed. It's real simple. I'm going to deglaze that, get it ready, and then we're going to address the engine and see where our leak is coming from. Once we determine the leak and see if it's an easy fix, the bike will essentially be done, except for one little thing, and that one little thing is that I want to be sure that Andy's son is safe and doesn't wind up burning himself on his leg. So I've got diamond plate. I'm just going to, and this is just a piece that I found that happened to have a bend in it. I'm going to take diamond plate and make diamond plate heat shields. And I was going to keep it a secret, but no need to. Diamond plate heat shields. So that's what's going to go on there. All right. I'll see you guys when this thing is back on its wheels. All right, we're shutting the shop down, but here's where we're at. We are back together with no spare parts. Everything is not tightened down or cinched down. Everything's just loosely put together. I've got to go through and square the forks up, square the back axle up, get the brakes adjusted, do all that fun, happy stuff. But we are going to call this the end of part 3. I know that I already said that I ended part 3, but this is truly the end of part 3. It is now 25 after 5, and I am wiped out. But don't those forks look a whole lot better than what was in there? Huh? Yeah, boy. Okay. So, if you guys would, click on that smiling guy's face if you're not subscribed. Over here is the previous part. Over here is a random video. Later.